is a holy, holy love in the universe, a holy and sacred life, magnificent power of creation. It is all one thing, infinite and everywhere. It is available to all of its beloved creation. It is available to us. We live within it, and it lives within us, each one, whole, perfect, and complete. It is our life. It is our being. It is our hope, and it is our purpose. What a wonderful gift to be able to be aware of this. I claim it for us all now as we gather in this sacred service. I give thanks for the music which helps to center us in that, and for the speaker whose words center us in that. And I claim for us that by the power of that one divine mind, we are opened up, enlarged, and elevated to go forth from here later, full of who we really are and loving it. And with gratitude, I release my word now for this service and for everyone in this building, trusting completely that Spirit is already at work in each one of us and in this service. And so it is. Good morning. I'm Carol Ternullo, one of your professional prayer practitioners here. And would you please join me in reading this morning's affirmation? My mind is filled with clear and specific thoughts about the nature of divinity and my identification with it. I am guided from within to live with integrity and grace.
Good morning, beautiful people of the Center for Spiritual Living. As you heard from our announcements, this is the beginning of a new month and a new focus. And for the whole month, we get to talk about one of my favorite topics, integrity. It's one of those things that there isn't anywhere you can look where there is no room to improve. So it's going to be in our face for the whole month, which I appreciate. I like that. Somebody once told me that integrity means that what I say matches what I do in the world. And then when I found the Center for Spiritual Living, I expanded that even further, and I learned that integrity incorporates what I think. What I think matches what I say, and that matches what I do. In other words, there's this symmetry between all of the parts of my beingness, if I can use that word. It all matches. And that's a great experiment for life. See, can I do it? Is it possible? And that's the topic for this week, the great experiment. And I take that to mean the experiment of discovering what happens when I actually live from my beliefs and from my values out. I think that's what spiritual living is all about. To bring all of that into line so that my thoughts and my words and my deeds all line up. And then it's apparent what I value and what I'm about. The way I show up. So I don't need to wear a sign. So you can look into my life and I can look into yours and we can get a sense of what's important to you by the way you and I show up. I'm working on it. I remember once doing something, somebody asked me to do something and there was an expectation that I would follow through and do it. And I didn't want to do it because I didn't think it was right. But I did. I complied, and I did it because I wanted approval, and I wanted to be popular. You know how that goes. And all the while I was doing it, I had that old familiar feeling that maybe you get it too when you're doing something that is out of sync with your soul, especially afterwards, and there's this feeling of emptiness, disconnection. It's almost like something inside has been diminished or I know we can't diminish ourselves, but there's the feeling of that. Every time I do something that goes against my values, I tell myself what the payoff is going to be. But in the end, I think that what I gain is never as much as what I lose. Yeah. So I'm learning about that. And I'm learning that compromising to be popular or to get approval or whatever the reason has never really led me into a deep, full, authentic experience of myself in the world. When I started studying all the teaching at the Center for Spiritual Living when I first encountered it, what I learned was that through applying these practices, I became less and less and less inclined to live out of sync with my soul. The author of this month's book, Spiritual Fitness, talks about that, Carolyn Reynolds, and she talks about how to live in truth and trust, and she lays it all out how to do it. And I'm halfway, I think, about 2/3 of the way in, and she's got this great point of view. She says, if you're doing the work, things will start to change. You'll start to see the sort of changes that go with that work. But you and I have to do the work. We have to conduct our own experiment. Otherwise, we'll just continue to always be depending on the testimony of other people's great revelations, whereas the experiment is you've got to do your thing. So that's the question for today. What's your thing? When it comes to inner work, what's your thing and are you doing it? Or what's your daily routine? Like brushing your teeth, the thing that you do every single day. What's the thing that you do for your inner life every single day? Or how about this way of asking it? What's the ritual, the ceremony that's so much part of your life? It's part of your inner work. Or what's your religion? And are you doing it? Because there's not much emphasis on it in our culture. Not much role modeling for it. You very rarely see a popular actor on the screen, television, or on the stage engaged in spiritual practice as part of the story. To the point where if you did see them doing that, they would appear to be weird. Right? You don't see them creating intentional space to meditate. You don't see them with Malabi. You don't see... No, it's not really put out there. So we have to generate our own interest in it and experiment on our own to prove that it is something worthy of our pursuit. I was talking to a young man about this, and we were talking about, just in a non-spiritual context, in a secular context, talking about the value, the importance of having some time dedicated to this kind of inner work. Talked about carving out, just say, 10 minutes every single day to sit down and ask important questions, valuable questions like, what do I stand for in this world? So when I go out into the world, that consideration is fresh in me. Or what do I believe? Or you can get spiritual and say, what is God to me? And he said, yes, I can see that that's very important. He was very agreeable. And then he asked, and can I do it while I'm at the gym working out? I get that often. It's the question, is there some way I can fit this spiritual thing in? Can you make it faster, more convenient, microwave it, put it in so that it's not an imposition on my life? But truly, you can do it any which way you want. And for the record, I love multitasking. I like to do 16 things in this hand while this hand's doing another 27 things. I have a small span of attention when it comes to this fabulous world. I love it. Yet, my truly lasting and profound experiences with spiritual practice have come when I have given my spiritual practice, that activity I'm engaged in, when I've given it one-on-one time. Unconflicted, undiluted, focused, mindful attention. Like relationships, there are certain things that just don't do well with multitasking. So you know. It's the meaning of the word sacred. It means set aside for a special purpose, a holy purpose. When you sacrifice something, you don't give it up for destruction. You set it aside for a holy purpose. That's what it means. So I learned that I had to sacrifice some of my precious time every day by setting it aside to do my thing. And I had to learn to experiment with different methods because, there's no one size fits all for us. And even when we do our thing, over time it changes. Got to keep on checking in. For example, one of the things I do is sit. That's my word for meditation, to sit. And in the beginning, when I learned it in one of those classes that Jeff was talking about, I needed music to create the environment. And then over time, I realized the music became a distraction. And so I either didn't like it or didn't want it. The music just became something to listen to that was preventing me from going the next step. So we get to watch and develop. And if one person's doing it this way, that's fine. And the next person's doing it, that's fine. How you do it, to me, is not as important as the fact that you do it at all. Doing your thing could be as simple as taking some time, setting it aside, and watching in the way of observing your thought. Why would that be valuable? Well, in the words that are often ascribed to Mahatma Gandhi, watch your thoughts, they become your words. Watch your words, they become your actions. And watch your actions, they become your habits. And watch your habits, they become your character. And watch your character, it becomes your destiny. So if you're not watching, you might one day wonder, how did I become? But back to the question. So what's your thing when it comes to inner work? Do you sit quietly 10 minutes every single day? 5 minutes? 15? Or what's that daily routine thing that you do that is as dependable as brushing your teeth every single day? For your inner life, you do this. I mean, do you say a prayer for yourself to set the trajectory for your day? Do you say prayers for your beloveds just to hold them in a beautiful space in your heart? I can't leave the house without doing 17 at least, because I feel like I'm going naked if I don't. And I do it very privately. I don't do it in front of anybody. Nobody sees me doing my thing. Or what is that ritual that you do that when it comes to inner work, keeps you in the groove? Do you first spend some time outside in nature and then come inside to journal? Or do you read sacred writings? Or what is the thing you do? So that anyone observing you, if they were able to see into that private activity of your life, would go, oh, this person is interested in living a spiritual life. At the Center for Spiritual Living, we teach that you and I can benefit from having a healthy helping of these 5 ingredients that form a well-balanced spiritual diet. You learn about this in Beyond Limits. So the 5 areas of your diet are, do you sit? Do you meditate every single day? Do you pray? Do you announce the word and align your inner world with divinity to the best of your ability? Do you serve? Do you put people first at some point in your life and present yourself selflessly to contribute to a world that works for everyone? Do you do that? Do you circulate That means give and receive in equal portion generously in this world. And do you study? In other words, do you read sacred, inspiring works to elevate your mind so that you're not depending on your own counsel all the time? And if you're doing your thing, you're going to start to experience changes. And the author of the book, Spiritual Fitness, she actually names what it is you can expect. She says, if you're doing this practice, you can expect to have a heightened sense of your general awareness of life, as if somebody cleaned the windows, and then you're looking out and you think, was that always there? But you're seeing it for the first time. And she says you can expect to see a change in the way you meet the challenges of your life. It's not going to be the same. We see that, students in class. It reminds me of several years ago on the internet, I found a list of, what was it called? The symptoms of spiritual awakening. And here are the things that you're likely to experience. Once you start doing your thing, you can experience a loss of interest in conflict. You can experience a decrease of interest in worry. You can experience a decrease in the tendency to react based on past conditioning. You experience a loss of interest in interpreting the actions and words of other people. Those are the decreases. And the increase, you increase in the ability to enjoy any moment that you find yourself in. Becomes more available to you. You find yourself increasing in the tendency to act spontaneously and to value spontaneity. You see an increased tendency in letting things happen rather than tinkering with them to make them happen just so. And then there is that feeling, that inexplicable feeling of feeling connected to each other and to nature, and the resulting frequent, strong emotions of gratitude and the inexplicable random smiles. There is a dark side to this as well, which I'll get to in a moment. But first, the glossy cover. And just to be fair to New Design for Living, because this is the book that we've been hopping around all year, I just wanted to mention that the message title, The Great Experiment, comes from the chapter that's assigned today. And to be true to it, in this book, what this chapter is referring to when it says the great experiment, it's referring to when you and I take what we know and apply it. So it's a very valuable chapter. In other words, I know that there is such a thing as sitting, meditation, do it. I can understand there's such a thing as loving kindness, now do it. It's the transition part from concept into becoming. And really, I love this little chapter. I read it and it got me to thinking about all of the amazing things that we learn here, the beautiful ideas we hear and we sing about, and it's all over. Like, for example, we are one. Fabulous. How about this one? God is all there is. Awesome. How about this one? My mind is the center of divine activity within the mind of God. Good one. How about this one? Forgiveness is the key to freedom. Yes, we say. How about this one? I belong here and now. How about this one? I am whole, perfect, and complete. How about this one? There's no separation between you and me, etc. These are catchy phrases. Now the transition. I know them. Now apply them. Oh, to sit with any one of them at a time. For example, we are one. Just take it. Take it and sit with it. Get a timer. Put it on. You just need 10 minutes every single day from now for 30 days. Sit with it. And then at the beginning of the sitting, ask yourself, what would it look like for me if that thought showed up in my speaking, in my acting, what would it be like for me if that were true? How would I be in the world? You know, that's how I use those spiritual seeds. Remember, in January, we gave away 800 copies, you know, and what I do, I carry them around with me, but one at a time. This is how I do it. I'll take one out in the morning, and it says, today I choose to love everyone around me. Then I sit, and I ask, how would I be today if this were a true statement? And I sit with that. And then I just take the one, and I put it in my pocket, and off I go, because you know when I put my hand in my pocket, I'm going to feel it, and it's going to jog the memory of the thought. Then I can look and see, how's it been going? If you were watching me, would you know which card's in my pocket? I'm getting better. And why 30 days? Why do I say 30 days? You know, I often assign that to people who come to talk to me. I say, do this for 30 days. Why 30 days? Because when you're looking at a question like that, such an exploration, how would this be in my life if it were true? It cannot be satisfied with a quick one-line, microwaved, nifty little answer. The question demands a deeper relationship in your own consciousness. You know, if you're going to take the thought, we are one, and start to experiment with showing up in the world as if that is true, the first thing you might notice is you're showing up with your experiment in a world that seems to be constructed and based on separateness, individuality, and private minds. So you might have to come back to your experiment foundation over and over again and refresh yourself with the idea and your consideration of what it means so that you do not lose your way or lose faith. You want to go further, 30 days, 10 minutes of sitting, and then at the end of the sitting, you say a prayer for you to become the living embodiment of that statement. Sit and consider it. Then pray to become the concept of we are one. Oh, you do that for 30 days and see how that changes you as you develop a relationship past the surface with what this idea means. Well, if you do your thing, things are going to change, you know, and here's the dark side. Because it's not all comfy. You know, in fact, I think the classes that we are announcing, they should have a warning label on them. You know what I mean? It should say, you can expect certain things. For example, here's something you can expect. To experience disorientation and confusion. Look how many people are nodding. Yeah, you start to do it, and then what happens is disruptions occur because old, reliable, predictable relationships and ways and concepts can no longer meet you because now you're starting to see through cleaned windows. And as part of that, you feel gradually more and more disconnected from the way things have always been, and you start to look around you and you see sometimes people who are fast asleep yet operating as if they're awake. No? And then there's this frustration because there's this tendency, it's a pull, gravity strong to the way you used to be, with its comfort and familiarity and the uncertainty of what you might be becoming, and the self-questioning. Is this right? You can experience disorientation and confusion when you start to do your thing. See how we can't put that on the glossy brochure? We just got to say you can change your whole life. Come in. It'll be fine. Another thing you can expect is random waves of inconvenient and unpredictable emotion. Yeah? You know what I'm talking about. I mean, it might be coming right now. As you open yourself to the thing itself, you choose for the love of your life, the thing itself, and it reveals itself to you, you can expect heart-opening experience, flashes of insight into just how connected we are to everything and to each other. And accompanying this is this inexplicable sense of gratitude that comes unexpectedly, inconveniently, and frequently others around us interpret us as being off balance and unstable, because they experience us from time to time, experience a deep, deep satisfaction with something as simple as a wooden spoon. Yeah? Just checking. You know what else you can expect? The resurfacing of unresolved issues. Oh. Registration just plummeted. But you know it is so, because as your heart and mind become activated and you start to become aware of your values and you start to have integrity with that, then unresolved issues have the opportunity to come forward, because you're now no longer the person you used to be, and before you couldn't handle it and now you can. I didn't say it's comfortable. You know what else you can experience as you do your thing? Anxiety. The anxiety that comes as a result of this heightened awareness. There's so much aliveness and you're uncertain. It feels always as if something's going to happen. And then you can have the conflicting thing of frustration that it's not moving fast enough, and disappointment that it's taking so long. All of it fits into the category of this term, divine discontent, with the continuous sense that there is something going on until you get used to it. Then you miss it when it's not there. You know what else you can expect? A hunger for introspection. You will start to enjoy being alone, because you will have started to enjoy being you. And even when you are with many, many people in a crowd, you will still always be aware of that quietness inside, and you will become less and less and less able to be controlled. And you know what else you can expect? The spontaneous increase in your integrity. Yeah. Because you will notice in yourself a gradual separation from encounters and conversations that depend on duplicity. You will become allergic to it. And you will find yourself distancing from environments like that. It will be toxic to your system. And you will find a stronger and stronger willingness to trust your values. And this is, of course, not an exhaustive list, because I don't want to scare you away completely. So the last one on the list is this. You start to do your thing. You are sure to notice something. It's almost the test for me. You will see an effortless increase in your own loving kindness. You will find a natural enjoyment in doing the thing that you have always been able to do, and that is to be kind, genuine, authentic, unguarded, undefended, uncontrived, normal, natural, beautiful, everyday kindness, and you will want for nothing more. You'll love it. And you will become the proof of your own experiment. Do you know what I'm talking about? At the end of the chapter, in A New Design for Living, he writes these beautiful words. In actual practice, he says, having first learned the basic technique, go to the class, get the techniques first, learned all the possible procedures and the vital elements, one closes all the books and turns to themselves and pours their whole being, all their wisdom and feeling into the words of their prayer. Then we ourselves become the teacher of our own consciousness, the stimulator of our own thought, simply because we cannot live outside of ourselves or away from ourselves, and so it is ours to do. I love that. It's a reminder to me to make space in my life for the sacred. Let us pray. There is only one, whatever it is. We say God as a shorthand term for that which is beyond all names and beyond all qualities, beyond space and time. The ground of all being, it is the creator, it is the first cause, it is the source of everything. And we begin our prayer there in acknowledging this divinity so that we may proceed with clarity, understanding that we exist within this mind of God, and we have inherited creation and the tendency to create and the power in our thought and the capacity to love and everything. And so by means of this prayer, we are establishing ourselves in full awake recognition that we are alive, we are co-creating, we are participating, we are responsible, we are powerful, we have a free flow of inspiring thoughts, we have the tendency towards harmony, we have the muscle for compassion, we have the wherewithal to share, we are reacquainting ourselves with the vision of who we are in this world that works for everyone. And even as this prayer is prayed, there wells up in us a sense of gratitude for having remembered, and we relax, for we are being installed in an attitude of expectation now. We trust the spiritual laws that govern the universe, having learned already that once it is spoken, it is done. And since we have in prayer spoken it, in our own minds and hearts it is spoken, we accept it as established and done. And together we say, and so it is. I invite you to breathe in with me and sigh. And with that sigh, I invite the ushers to stand. And while the choir is coming up onto the stage, many of you I know were at Reverend Jeff's ordination on Friday. Wasn't that something? Just beautiful, just beautiful. And so when you see him out here, please do congratulate him. He's looking radiant. Won't you take your gift in your hand and say after me, I bless this gift. I send it forth to heal and prosper. It does great work in the world. And so it is.